There were lots of removals and lots of things happening during the time that the campus was formed, and the governor Henry Dodge and Governor Doty, and all of those experiences that happened back then with the people that that were here. We still have Ho-Chunk people that are in Winnebago, Nebraska, and I have relatives that are there. And so with all of the removals that have happened, I think the important thing is that we are still here. And with all of the history, that when you look at the cultures that are here on this continent, prior to us being, this being the state of Wisconsin, the treaties that were signed, the Louisiana Purchase that happened, the Spanish influence, and then the Canadian with, we were a part of Canada. So when you think about where we've come from and the cultures that have been here, I think we also have to acknowledge the Canadian and French Canadian side, the explorers that came through and settled this whole region, and the trading that happened, and the Cahokia and the Mississippi, and all the exploring that happened. The explorers came here, and I think to a certain extent when our students are coming in now, they are explorers themselves. They're coming here, they're exploring, and they're coming from all across the world to be here and across the United States. So I think that's one interesting thing, that this area, this whole territory, was not always United States. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to remember that, and the Indian cultures that were here during all those influences that happened during that period. I always feel like there's more young people coming up, and they're always coming up with new things and blending them in their own way. And the other thing that I think that I realized for my own personal experience is that the words of my elders and my grandparents and great-grandparents still echo, even though I may not always hear their voices in my everyday living, that some of the things that they have said in the past have come to be true. The predictions they had made and the words of advice that they had given us, watch out for this, beware of this, watch for that, preserve this, watch out for the young people coming up. So all the advice they gave us, I think that that I've tried to do that, but maybe not always in the way that my ancestors were thinking, but in the way of blending the academic with preserving the culture and the history. Never forget who you are. That's always the words that I received from maybe what I would consider junior elders, not necessarily true elders. Everyone considers themselves junior elders, not really an elder. And some of them would say, would give me tips before I came to school. Don't forget who you are, that kind of thing. So that's what I've tried to do, is never forget where I came from. And it has been that way for me, because where I walk is always in American Indian circles. I try to be back in my community, hear the words that are spoken, dance with the people that I'm so used to dancing with, and the young people coming up. So I try to preserve that, and so in a sense, I'm not doing the academic thing. I'm doing the other side of the coin, which is keep the culture alive, the American Indian culture, the Ho-Chunk ways. And even though I may not do it exactly as our grandparents had wished, I'm blending two cultures here, the contemporary culture, living my everyday life, but then keeping their memories alive and remembering that history and trying to pass it on to my own child and grandchildren. So I was able to work with Ho-Chunk Nation and help in establishing the H. Bennett History Center in Wisconsin Dells that has a lot of photographs of the Winnebago or Ho-Chunk people in their collections. And so if you have a chance to go to the museum, you have to go, because there's Ho-Chunk words spoken, there's music, and it's really a nice collection for right in the core of downtown Wisconsin Dells. And we've been a part of the history of that area also. So it would be nice one day to have that same kind of story told about the Madison area, plus the UW campus, if there could be some kind of collaboration where we would see the history of the lands in this area, the waterways, the mounds, and so the blending of those things that we have that we value, the green space, the water, the land, the people, the cultures, the heritage, and I'd like to see more of that being prominent.